we should all be taking notes from Jason Papalapodakadis.
Jason pop lock and drop.
Hello, best friend Brenbrens, and welcome back to Season 3 of Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 1999 animated series Home Movies. My name's Tim, and I'm obsessed with home movies.
My name's Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
And my name is Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Home Movies Season 3, Episode 10, titled, It's Time to Pay the Price. Original air date November 10th, 2002 on Adult Swim, written by Brendan Small, Bill Broaddus, and cast, directed by Lauren Bouchard, and produced by Carl Adams. Synopsis for this episode: Brendan, Jason, and Melissa get in trouble and have to attend a Scared Straight program. Meanwhile, Paula finds several of the kids' old movies. And there you go.
It's time to pay the price. Okay, that's the title. Now I understand it. I didn't know what it was going to be, but, that makes sense for the episode.
Yeah, we'll get into it, because I'm curious to know how many endings of the movies you saw before you were like, wait a minute. They keep ending each of these movies on the same line.
Did they ever show an ending of a movie previous that ended that way, or is this the first time that this is a thing?
This is the first time they ever did that.
Oh, okay.
Well, shit.
Yeah. I've read reviews for this episode that's like, maybe I just was never paying attention. No, they've never ended an episode. Except in this episode, they end them all with, it's time to pay the price.
Interesting.
Very interesting indeed. Well, we're going to jump into all that and more. But first, why don't we jump into the Creative Corner, shall we? The Creative Corner, of course, is something in the realm of creativity. We're producing, consuming, whatever that we want to bring to light. So please bring us in. Goofy. Creative Corner, doodly-doo.
Hey, that was great. Thanks, Goof.
Thanks, Goofy. Yep. Actually, I have some questions about your involvement in the January 6th insurrection.
Goofy.
I gotta go. Damn.
He was just trying to get Max to spend some time with him. I don't know what everyone's so mad about.
They were just going on vacation.
We'll find out more in Goofy Movie 3, January 6th.
Too goofy. Too goofy.
So Goofy's name is Goofy Goof, because his last name is Goof.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, there's Max Goof and Goofy Goof.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine Goofy, screaming January?
The election was stolen. Yeah.
I always think of that one comic that floated around the internet for a while where it was like Goofy walks into Max's room and he's like, your dad fucks hard.
I did not see that.
Your dad doesn't just have sex. He fucks.
Yucks.
He yucks. Yeah, that's the part of the internet I'm on.
Nice. All right. Well, Creative Corner, who would like to go first, or shall I?
You can if you'd like.
You know what? I will.
Okay.
My Creative Corner this week, I'll keep it short and sweet. It is a YouTube channel. I've recently gotten back into this channel. It is traditionally where I get my news and current events. The channel is called Some More News. It is a somewhat unhinged infotainment news channel that puts out a video once a week or so. And then they also have a weekly podcast I listen to. I got really into them during the pandemic. They do talk about a lot of stuff. They'll do whole hour-long episodes on Jordan Peterson or a Ben Shapiro or an Elon Musk or whatever. But they're not but the left can do no wrong. They are very, they'll take jabs at either side. They don't give a shit. But it's very informative. It's a little unhinged and a little goofy. They will incorporate puppets sometimes. But it is a good, unbiased source of news. And I say entertainment, but man, I'm very not entertained watching these. I usually come away incredibly sad. But we've talked about staying informed on what's going on. I personally can't consume just regular news on a channel or cable or whatever. So I traditionally get my news from independent podcasts and YouTube channels and stuff like that. And that's kind of what this is. So yeah, some more news is the YouTube channel. And then all of the episodes that they release on YouTube, which like I said, are traditionally about an hour long, they'll release in podcast form as well. So if you're an audio only kind of person, you can listen to the podcast, and then they do once a week podcast where they just talk about current events. So
Nice.
Even More News is the podcast. Some More News is the YouTube channel. Check it out. It is, like I said, it's slightly unhinged. It's fun.
I mean, it's better than any other network news channel, because especially now, anytime someone gets in a disagreement that's political, it's like, well, you watch CNN or you watch Fox. Like, I don't.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like to consume that content that looks at both Fox and CNN and then kind of tries to find the middle ground, which is usually where the truth is a lot of times.
Just trying to find the truth. I don't care what network that is being bought by some billionaire. I don't
fucking preach, dude.
Listening to independent journalists is pretty much the only way to get your news nowadays.
Absolutely.
Highly recommended. So, yep, Some More News is the YouTube channel, and then Even More News is the podcast where they just talk about current events every week.
Oh, that's a wonderful creative corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I shouldn't just do video games and the things that make me giggle.
Hey, people want to hear about what video games you're playing, too.
I know. But I also need them to know that I am, like, we have these conversations all the time about staying informed and, like, either overconsumption of what's going on or the underconsumption or, quote unquote, burying your head in the sand.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am very self-conscious about the amount that I take in because I don't want to overwhelm myself. But the simple fact of the matter is, especially in this day and age, you need to know what's going on. You need to be informed. You need to be educated, and you can't bury your head in the sand. That's how these things just continue to happen and screw over the normal person.
Yep.
Amen.
Can I pop off relatively?
Please.
Yeah, of course.
So the thing with activism, and something that I think everybody should really understand, is you can't be at every single protest. You can't be at every single event that happens protesting or just being an activist in general. The best way for activism to truly work is for, like, you to pull back at some point and then someone else step in. It's great if you can, but if you're going to burn yourself out that way, you need to take a step back and just really get your head straight. Activism is very important, especially right now. I think, I forget who just said it, but, like, go make good trouble. I think it was John Lewis or something like that. But making good trouble is very important, especially right now, but also your mental health and not burning yourself up. So taking a step back when you can, and then stepping right back up when you can.
Yeah, do what you can, like physically, going out there and protesting and advocating. But when you can't do that, stay informed. It's a two-front battle.
Not to use a war analogy, but it's kind of like how they'd have people step back to load their musket while the next line went up with their musket. Let someone step in so you can reload your musket.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a war analogy fits perfectly
Yay.
well right now.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that is my creative quarter. Yep.
That was a good creative corner.
Thanks.
I can go next.
Yep.
Okay. So Tim and I watched a mini-series that came out on Netflix a few weeks ago. It's a 4-episode mini-series called Adolescence, and each episode is shot without any cuts. So there's no editing or
Just one shot.
it's just completely one shot. The behind the scenes for this show is wild. Like, at one point they just take the camera and just smoothly hook it onto a drone, and then the drone takes it up into the air. Oh, it's so beautiful. But the premise of the show is about a 13-year-old boy who is accused of murdering a classmate and the process of what that looks like. And this doesn't give anything away. It was just an observation that I made watching the show, and I'm sure they did this on purpose. But there was an episode where he's in the police station versus an episode where they go into his school. And the energy at the police station, this takes place in the United Kingdom, the energy at the PlayStation was very like polite and nice and very like, yes, sir, no, sir. There was no aggro going on like you'd find in the American police stations, you know what I mean? And then they go to the high school, and the high school is just unhinged, and there are male teachers just screaming in these kids' faces, and it's like the opposing vibes of each place was insane. And it's a very good watch. I don't want to give anything away as far as the plot goes, but it was just very well done. The acting was amazing, and it really touches on some very sensitive topics that I feel like a lot of people need, especially parents, need to pay attention to.
Again, without giving anything away, the like motivations and how he got to where he was is also something that's very relevant today and something that we need to talk about more. So
absolutely.
It's very interesting. It's a very heavy show. I think after the first or second episode, I was like, let's take a break.
Yeah, we watched the first 2 episodes one day and the next 2 episodes the next day just to get a little break. But very, very well done. Highly recommend.
I've heard a lot of things about this show, and I go against the grain sometimes when the entire populace starts being like, you gotta watch this show, you gotta watch this show, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'll watch this Stranger Things show, and then it becomes my favorite fucking thing in the world. But yeah, now that you've told me to watch it, I definitely want to watch it, and I find that it's very relevant to what you were just talking about with this episode.
Yeah.
It's funny because in like the UK, they take academia so seriously versus where we do it here, where we don't like at all, and then our police state is just so,
it's all about intimidation.
Very much
Absolutely.
so. Very much so.
It was so wild. It felt very Twilight Zone-y watching the show, and everybody's just very polite, very like, thank you, sir, no, sir, and like calling this kid son and not trying to scare him at all, trying to keep him like emotionally grounded the entire time. Oh, it was beautiful. I wish life was like that.
And then it shows a teacher, and he's like, listen here, you little shits.
Yeah, it's insane.
The way that respect is 2 different things in 2 different cultures, like they take respect as like being very polite to somebody in the UK, and versus we take respect as you better listen to what I have to say, and you better do what I tell you to do. 2 different streets. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about adolescence is the main kid, especially what was that, episode 3?
Episode 3 was amazing.
That kid deserves an Oscar.
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
Oh my God, he's a very talented young man, for sure. 100%. Go watch it. It's on Netflix.
I definitely will. It's between that and you told me to watch, was it Reindeer Baby or something like that?
Baby Reindeer PSA. Very heavy. Oh my God. 10 times heavier than Adolescence.
Okay, I was going to ask you because that's the one reason I haven't started Baby Reindeer is because you told me it's so heavy.
Baby Reindeer broke something inside of me. I had to recuperate for days afterwards. Like it's a heavy fucking show. And please just go into it with a clear head. Make sure you're in a good mental space when you watch Baby Reindeer. Very, very good show. I recommend it to everybody, but please do not watch it if you are already depressed or if you haven't healed your own wounds, because I was curled up on the couch for a good minute crying my eyes out. So
okay, I'll watch Adolescence first.
Yes,
back to back.
I wouldn't recommend it.
That was a good creative corner.
Very good.
Thank you.
I will go last. So my creative corner is a YouTube channel. It involves professional wrestling. I have just been jumping back into professional wrestling of just really watching old matches, old different promotions. Stardom is a promotion that is centered around their characters being like very anime-esque, like in their clothing and their music coming out. I came across them because of YouTube channels, people telling me to watch it, and I really just want to watch more professional wrestling from different promotions and whatnot, but it's very hard to. It's very hard to because you either have to pay, like, let's just say for WWE, right? If you want to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and, like, pay-per-views, you have to have Peacock, you have to have USA as a channel, you have to have Netflix to watch Raw, you have to have, like, all of these different things, and it's so annoying.
It's so transparent that they're just like, give me your money.
No, 100%.
Well, they know they have a product that a ton of people like, that a ton of people consume, and they don't just consume Monday Night Raw, or they don't just consume pay-per-view. They consume all of it.
Yep.
So what do? You split it up, you divvy it out to different streamers, and everyone says, pay up, little boy. You know you want to watch this wrestling. Give us all your fucking money.
And it's so goddamn annoying, especially when it comes to professional wrestling, because if you really want to get invested in a story, in characters, you have to watch all of it and watch them grow and change, and like they do a move over here, and then it incorporates into the storyline somehow, like 10 episodes down. So it's so hard. But the YouTube channel that is my creative corner is called Drop Mick Wrestling, and I'm just going to spell it out. DROPMICK space wrestling. It's a labor of love. They take characters, they take feuds specifically, and they edit together everything that happens in the feud, and it turns it into a movie. The latest episode they just dropped, and I recommend it very highly. One of my favorite characters right now, she's taking the business by storm. Her name is Timeless Toni Storm. And she's like this kind of golden era actress. Like she's got a lot of moxie. She's got spunk, as she would put it. And she's like, "Oh, watch for your tits, darling, because I'm about to break you." And she just goes on like this innuendos, and she's just so fucking good. But she had this feud with Mariah May, a blood feud. It was insane. But if you don't watch AEW and Dynamite and Collision and all of these different pay-per-views, you're not going to get the real complex storyline involved with it. But what Drop Mick Wrestling does is edits all of these different clips, all of these different segments, and all these different moments in these wrestling matches together, and makes this easy to follow, easy to understand story, and you can really understand how important these moments are within the matches. Because in wrestling, the moments within the wrestling is what makes professional wrestling so good. So my creative corner is recommending Drop Mick Wrestling because they have so many different feuds and blood feuds and different stories that are like 2.5 hours, hour and a half, even just hours. Like there's one I'm looking right now, the complete run of Sting in AEW, 4 hours.
Damn.
Jesus.
Yeah, which, take
That's
it...
a Puzzle Valley episode.
Roasted. But still, it's really good. So if you want to even just stick your toe in there and you just want to take a night and just watch like a movie length of something just to see how you feel about it, I highly recommend that.
What a great free alternative.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Just 3 solid creative corners all around.
We did it, gang.
Yeah. We got it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, shall we drump?
It's when you drunkenly jump into something.
Shall we jump into this episode?
Yes, please.
It's time to pay the price.
Oh, shit, dude.
Real quick, can I just mention this episode has commentary? And not to date this episode or give a little peek behind the curtain, but as we record this episode, by the time this episode drops, it'll be a couple weeks old. But I made a bonus episode that I dropped on April 1st. And yeah, I'll say it. It was an April Fool's joke. But it had about 25 minutes of tangents that were cut out of episodes, right? The commentary for this episode starts with an 8-minute song on the banjo and bongos of Brendan and Lauren just making up a bunch of stuff, singing "It's Time to Pay the Price" over and over again. Then they finally finish the song, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, we'll get into some commentary. And then Brendan breaks down the song for like another 3 minutes.
Did they talk about the episode at all?
Barely. I got 2 nuggets of information from the episode. One that actually, once they said it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of obvious. And then the other one I was curious about, so it was cool to know. But I genuinely felt like I was getting pranked. I felt like I was getting pranked. So, yeah.
Payback.
A little bit, yeah.
Wait, did they start the episode watching and they're just in the background playing the banjo? Or...
The episode starts with Brendan being like, okay, and then you just start hearing banjo and then bongos, and then they just start singing.
So they weren't paying attention to the episode?
Nope.
So it wasn't actually commentary?
Nah.
They kept going back and forth where Brendan would be like, knock, knock, and Lauren's like, who's there? And he's like, wouldn't you like to know? That's it.
Oh, God.
I mean, I bet they're sitting there for like a full 8-hour shift of just watching these movies.
Yeah. Not every episode has commentary, so I think this season, out of the 13 episodes, maybe 5 or 6 had commentary. But yeah, we're getting towards the end of their commentary, and yeah, it was probably all recorded in one day.
Yeah.
So.
I wonder how they choose what episodes get commentary.
It's really weird, yeah.
Because if you're jumping over episodes and you really don't have anything to say about the episode, but you want to play the banjo, I don't know what the thinking was there.
The last episode we did that had commentary, it was like they were answering mailed-in questions. It was like an FAQ thing, so... I think they're just having fun with the commentary. Maybe they don't have something necessarily deep to say about every single episode. So,
But we do.
Yeah.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, the one thing they did say about this episode, which makes sense now that we've watched it, was, the animators hated this episode.
Really?
And if you think about it, traditional home movies episode, you have them where they're at school, they're at soccer, they're at home in the basement. They're at an established place that we've been before.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a movie involved in an episode.
Right.
How many movies were in this episode?
So
like
many.
6, 7?
So many.
Each one had costume changes. Each one had a different set.
Which we can get into it, but yeah.
So they didn't hate the episode because it was bad. They hated it because it was hard to work on.
Because they had a very short amount of time to do it and a lot to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But, and I will say, that being said, animators fucking crushed this episode.
Every time.
It was so good. And now that I know that they're on such short time crunches and, so much, I noticed a few, I'll call them shortcuts,
Yeah.
but time restraints.
Yeah.
I noticed a couple time restraints.
One that in particular that they've used before.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one I noticed, and it was just barely like half a frame of anything.
We'll get to them when we get to them. Hopefully I'll remember. But let's jump into this episode. This episode opens. We have Brendan, Jason, Melissa. They're filming a movie at what appears to be the playground at school. The movie's like some kind of Mad Max type film. Brendan's character is asking Jason's character how long before they can get the chopper. Jason says 2 or 3 days, but Brendan says they need it quicker and asks if he has the fuel, the gasoline.
That's what I was wondering because I was looking at my notes and I just put racist ? Because they were doing an Australian accent.
Right. Well, I think the whole joke with that is Mad Max
Is Australian.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've only seen Fury Road.
Oh, we got to watch the first 3. Maybe not the third one. The third one I have a different relationship with, but like the first 2 are really, really good.
I'd be down. I liked Fury Road a lot.
Oh, Fury Road's perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but he asked Jason if the gasoline is in a safe place, and Jason's like, yeah, I dug a hole. So, obvious holes reference. They knew that 20 years later we would be talking on this podcast about holes almost every episode now.
I'm the caveman.
Hey, dude, you brought it up first.
I know.
You beat us to the punch.
I say dug a hole, and I could have just moved on.
And now we're going to have a bunch of holes references in this podcast.
Well, Brendan's character asked Jason who he stole it from, and he told him he took it from Bazooka Mama from Quadrant 4. Brendan points out she's tough as dingoes. She'll skin us alive if she finds out. Jason claims no, she won't, and then we see the crosshairs of a bazooka come into frame, and Jason says maybe she will. So that's when we see Melissa as Bazooka Mama saying it's too late.
Who would win in a fight, Bazooka Mama or Little Mama?
Bazooka Mama.
Probably, yeah.
Well, Little Mama's kind of unhinged. I think she's got some sneaky moves.
How about this one? How about Bazooka Mama versus Susan B. Anthony?
Oh, that's actually a fun. We rewatched that Home Movies episode, and to your point, you remember you were complaining that they did not censor bitch when Jason said that to Melissa, but they didn't censor Susan, bitch, and Anthony.
I think the big thing, though, was they did censor Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
in
what
that
really
episode.
pissed me off.
No, absolutely. But there's a precedent, or whatever that word is.
Precedent.
Precedent,
Right.
thank you.
Yes.
Well. Oh, Jason asked Melissa if there's anything they can do, and she says that there isn't. And it's time to pay the price.
It's time to pay the price.
This shot lingers, and Jason's like, can we cut? And Brendan's like, why? Are you afraid you're going to laugh? He's just like, I just can't keep it going. I think he mentioned something about his neck and like nerve damage. But in the background, that's when we see a car drive by, stop, and then go into reverse. And that's when we see for the first time Mr. Pendlehurst.
Was he your doodle?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I figured.
Now, without me mentioning, do you guys know who does the voice of Mr. Pendlehurst?
Sounded familiar, but I have
Sam
no
Cedar.
clue.
Yes. Yes, it was. Sam
Expert.
Cedar.
No. At the end, I saw additional voices,
Oh,
Sam Cedar, and I was
damn.
like, I knew it.
Never mind.
It was Sam Cedar. He did the voice of Mr. Pendlehurst. He also does the voice of one of the convicts that's doing the scared straight.
Mm-hmm.
No, I worked at a bank. Hold on. I gotta check my notes. Yep, Mr. Pendlehurst walks up and tells them it's Saturday, folks, which means no school, which means you are trespassing.
I feel like I need to put a tier list together of all the characters I hate in home movies and like which one's the worst, which one's the least, but this guy's on the list.
Well, I think it was the first of 16 times that he mentions he used to be a security guard.
Yeah.
I think I heard Marson be like, what a douche.
Well, I think I wrote down in my notes, of course, the ex-prison guard is an asshole.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I had some ideas about that.
Hmm.
Especially because he was just going around, he was just driving down looking for trouble.
Oh, you know he does that every single weekend to make sure that kids aren't at the playground. What else has he got to do?
Oh my God, I hate those people.
Yeah.
Seriously. Oh no, God forbid these kids are playing at a playground instead of like causing trouble and vandalizing shit or
yeah, they could have
whatever
been
the fuck
vandalizing or doing anything, but
Kids don't go out anymore. It's like, I wonder why.
Well, Brendan immediately pushes back and says they didn't know, and Melissa agrees. But then Jason's like, yeah, we sort of did know.
Jason.
Well, that's when Mr. Pendlehurst informs them that they will be spending the week with him in detention. Melissa's very upset, saying she's never had detention before. I like this part. Jason asks what detention is, and Brendan's like, well, it's when they make you sit in a room, and that's kind of it. And Jason remarked, oh, it sounds like therapy.
So does that mean that Jason's in therapy?
I think so.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. He's just staring, just probably on the chair. And then that one therapist from the Feel Goods is probably his therapist.
One of those therapists that don't talk unless you talk, so they're just sitting there in silence.
Robin Williams from...
Brendan agrees with Jason, and Pendlehurst tells Brendan to watch it. He explains to him he used to be a prison guard, and you don't want to get on the wrong side of him. He is tough, but he is fair. If you open your mouth, I will shut it.
Hey, that was good.
If you keep screwing around, I'll take you to the prison and show you what happens when you don't learn the rules. Brendan and Jason give a series of geez, oof, whoosh, before Brendan asks if they can get a second take because he kind of screwed it up at the end when he yelled.
This guy is the type of person who would be like, you got soft hands.
The immediate next scene is Paula in the kitchen, hanging up the phone with Mr. Pendlehurst. Brendan asks if Paula got him out of detention, and she said she practically had to get herself out of detention. That Pendlehurst is scary. Brendan agrees and says he almost cried, but instead he did that thing where he faked laughed to hide it.
Hey, I know that move.
Well, Paula said, yeah, that's what I had to do on the phone. So Paula goes on to say that maybe Brendan could use a little disciplining, though, and asks him to set the table. Brendan asks if he can do it after dinner, and Paula says sure. So I think we're getting a little bit of a glimpse why Brendan has a little bit of a disregard for authority, considering Paula is not the strictest.
We love Paula, though.
We do love Paula, especially this episode. She's always been,
very supportive.
by and large, very supportive of Brendan. There was one episode where she's like, come on, your grades are slipping.
Well, she's going to be honest.
Right.
I think I was talking about it before the episode even starts, that Paul is such a supportive mom. And bringing up that one was like, where's my hug? Where's my kiss? And then she has to be the parent. It's like, I figured I'd get a hug and a kiss before I had to send you to your room.
So sweet. I want Paula to be my mom.
Same. We can share.
Yeah.
Paula can be all of our moms.
Yeah.
But Paula does mention that he should just go to the detention thing and stay out of trouble because Pendlehurst means business. Brendan fires back that she happens to be talking to a businessman. And Paula informs him that he's not as charming as he thinks.
Brendan's reaction was so good.
His reaction was, you're wrong.
He did a little hand wave. He's like, you're wrong.
How charming.
Oh, this next scene cracks me up. We see Jason and Melissa at the playground. Melissa is holding a blue binder and voices her concern about the predicament that they're in. So basically, they can't film on weekends because it's trespassing, and they can't film on the weekdays because they can't close off the set. Jason suggests that maybe they rebuild the set, and Melissa says she doesn't think it's in the budget. Jason asks what the budget is, and Melissa says, well, it was $1, but I used the $1 to buy the binder to keep the budget in. And immediately Jason pushes back, saying it's kind of silly to spend the budget on the binder to keep the budget because now they have no budget. Melissa begs him not to tell Brendan. She just wanted to look professional. Jason asks to see the binder. They both agree. It's a pretty nice binder.
Yeah.
I feel that from Melissa. It's like, I wanted it to look professional. So I spent all of the money I have.
Nobody's perfect, Melissa. It's fine.
And realistically, what are they going to do with a $1 budget?
Nothing.
Even in 2002, when that's worth like $2.3 million.
Yeah.
It's not going to do much.
That could have got you a cap gun.
Could have got you probably like 100 Tootsie Rolls.
That's also true.
I think Jason recommends that maybe they make a movie about the binder.
Yeah, he said it in a tone, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's when Brendan runs up and immediately comments about how nice that binder is. He tells Jason and Melissa they need to come over to his house because he found something amazing that they both need to see. We're at Brendan's house, and he is showing Jason and Melissa an open closet door with literally hundreds of VHS tapes scattered about. Jason looks past all the tapes to comment on what a weird coat that's hanging in the closet.
It was like a cowskin coat.
Yeah. And it's funny because Melissa starts asking, like, how many movies have we made? And Brendan says thousands.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Not a single YouTube channel.
In 2002.
Yeah. I think at one point Jason is still like, where did you even get that coat? Like, he can't look past the coat. So Melissa asks if he needs help putting them all back in the closet. And Brendan pushes back and says, no, there's a reason that they're all out. They should watch them and figure out where they're going. Basically, they have never watched these movies. So finally, Jason shifts his focus away from the coat to ask if these are the videotapes of all the movies they filmed. And Brendan is like, yeah, Jason, we've filmed those movies.
2 episodes in a row where we get to see a little peek into Jason's mind to see how it works, because never told his parents about Brendan and Melissa, and now he didn't realize that the movies were actually being filmed. What did he think the camera was for?
Framing.
Aw.
This is what it would look like if we were filming this.
Right. I like how he was all like, we should burn them.
Yes. Immediate thought is burn them.
Just a quick little tangent. There was a film festival a couple of years ago that I went to, just spur of the moment thing when I was in Chicago on my birthday. The whole process, the whole premise of it was that they were going to make a film, like a short film or whatever, and at the end of the thing, you were going to destroy it. It would free you so you can experiment and do something you wouldn't normally do, because then you don't have the record, and then just destroying it afterwards. I saw some really cool short films, but I understand why they destroyed them. I'll tell you off mic, but
Yeah. That's such a cool concept, though.
It is really cool. I could not do it. I couldn't do it.
I mean, yeah, when you work on something for so long and you put effort into it and then you got to destroy it. I don't know.
And I feel like regardless of quality, you're like, I just made that.
Yeah.
That's my baby.
I'd have a backup file
Yeah.
on the side.
Oh, yeah. I want to put it on the fridge.
I would just bring a blank VHS, like, here it is. Go ahead and destroy it. They're like, we film these digitally. I'm like, oh, no. Well, Melissa agrees with Brendan that they should watch them. Brendan starts going through movies and finding such titles as The Hand That Wasn't There. Brendan and Melissa don't remember that one, but Jason does because he remembers playing the hand. Brendan finds another one, which has a cover and everything, which is Jesus Zilla, son of Godzilla.
Oh my God, I just got it now that you said it out loud. I was like, son of
Really?
Godzilla? That doesn't make sense. Why would Godzilla have Jesus as I feel so dumb.
Jesus Zilla. It's got Jason on the cover. He's got the beard, he's got the halo, and he's got the Godzilla suit.
Oh, my
God.
God.
I'm going to be thinking that for a couple weeks now. That's crazy. I can't believe I didn't get that.
I
I'm so dumb.
Gojira.
Jesus Zilla,
Son of Godzilla. Oh my God. I'm really mad at myself right now, guys.
I am pinching the bridge of my nose.
I gotta go.
That's gonna do it for this episode.
I blame the religious trauma. They won't
I
let
get
us
it.
see all the jokes.
No, you guys just, your brains edited out automatically.
Yeah.
You were like, why was that one cover pixelated? And I'm like, no, that was Jesus Zilla. What do you... Oh, that's
Why was
funny.
that cover pixelated, and why did I suddenly feel guilty?
Yeah. Why did I just hear TV static for 4 seconds?
Why was I scared very, very highly?
Oh, God. Well, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Well, appropriately named Jesus Zilla will haunt you the rest of your
God,
life.
that's so clever. God damn it.
Well, speaking of clever, Brendan picks up another movie titled The Magic Balls.
Yeah, no reference to that, no cover art. Where are they getting these magic balls from?
Well, Melissa makes an offhanded comment. Yeah, I wasn't there that day.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, was it just Brendan and Jason with the balls, dude?
That's why he wanted to burn them.
Oh my God, the magic balls. Oh no. Okay, let's move on. I'm glad there was no example.
Jason's like, wait, you have some too?
Oh no.
Well, they quickly move on to a movie called Box Bots. We cut to the movie of Box Bots, and indeed, they are boxes that are robots that miraculously survived something.
One of the robots has a gnome as an arm.
If we look closely, one of Melissa's arms is a garden gnome.
I love that Jason had to keep like moving his face in order to change expressions.
Yes,
Yeah.
he had a different expression. I do like the line of Brendan's where they ask if he has the secret plans, and he says that they are in his memory banks. So someone will have to get a cosigner to withdraw them from his memory banks.
A child joke.
Yes. The movie ends with all three of them being found, and in unison they say, "It's time to pay the price."
It's time to pay the price.
I did love the joke that they said.
Oh, Jason says, "Tell my girlfriend
Oh, yeah.
I'll miss her." And they're like, "We can't. We're being captured with you." And then he's like, "Tell me you'll miss me."
I was like, I
And
feel
Brendan's
that
like, "I will miss you."
Oh. That's so real.
Well, Brendan immediately finds another tape, and he says, "Oh, this is the environmental one." And Jason even says that that's when Brendan went all green on them. So the movie opens with Melissa as a lumberjack saying she's going to chop down Brendan, who is playing a tree. Brendan says don't, because of the environment. And that's when Jason steps forward as a skunk, saying, "Don't chop down the forest." Melissa says she won't chop down the forest, but she will chop down this tree. And that's when Brendan goes on a monologue about how he's a tree and a house for birds and chipmunks and cats and dogs
And dogs.
and useful for people too. And that's when the skunk tells the lumberjack, "Chop him down."
But, okay, so he said they're useful for people too, like getting wood. That would require him being chopped down.
It's true.
I wrote, of course, Jason was the skunk. He had stink
He
lines.
sure did. They
He
were all
did.
natural too.
He had stink lines. You can't smell through a camera. He did that on purpose. That was just for him to be smelly.
I'm sure it took zero effort on his part.
That's true, yeah. It's his usual state.
The skunk asks for the axe and does it himself. Brendan screams and says, "This hurts." And that's when Jason, the skunk, says, "I hope you learned your lesson." And in unison, the lumberjack and skunk say, "It's time to pay the price."
The tree was covered in maple syrup to make it look like the tree was bleeding.
So I have here a quick, well, I guess it's a foreground catch. When Brendan gets chopped down and then it shows him down the skunk, they are covered in maple syrup. But I don't know if you saw, the bottle of the maple syrup was on the ground, and it was the Jersey Turnpike maple syrup, which was the same brand from the diner
Oh, shit.
at the end of season 3, episode 1, Shore Leave.
I'd like to think they stole the maple syrup from the diner.
That's funny.
I wrote down here, Brendan Poppins and the Chimney Sweeps are rewatching home movies?
The Chimney Sweeps. I wish they went with a different name.
Same, but they're rewatching home movies.
I know, it's crazy. They're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Jason finds another movie and tells Brendan, "Oh, this is the one where you ripped off the verdict." I love this part because Brendan corrects him and says, I didn't rip off the verdict. We ripped off the verdict.
I did write that in my notes. That was a good line.
Yep. Well, this movie opens with Brendan in court yelling, isn't it true that you are lying? And he points to Melissa, who is a nurse on the stand. Jason is playing the judge. Now, I like this movie because we cut multiple different times to different characters, and they're all played by Jason.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But then, like, any time he's playing a character and then it, like, moves over a little bit, the character he was playing is now a gnome with whatever, like, hair and beard, or, like, whatever he's wearing. So,
yeah.
Melissa's character claims that someone altered the times on her paperwork. When Brendan asks who, she points at Jason, the first Jason, who's a lawyer. But she said, oh, actually, I meant to point a little bit more to the right to the Jason who is, as Brendan calls him, the defendant client. That's when she points again. Actually, I meant that man. And she points too far to the right, which is Jason as the bailiff. And again, we see the gnome as the defendant client. It makes me laugh because it's like, yeah, this is exactly what kids would do if they were making a movie with like multiple characters. They're playing the one character, but when not, it's just like a stuffed animal or whatever.
It's an actual logistical, intelligent way that they would make that effect work. It's similar to like when he was shrinking and then they put cardboard for a hand.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, very well done and very practical. Well, that's when Jason, as the judge, chimes in and says, order in the court. It's time to pay the price. So the next scene, we're inside the detention room, and here's one example of animator saving time. The lights are flickering.
Yes.
Oh.
That's what I clocked that immediately. I was like, oh shit. Because it makes sense now that you explained it, because they had to do so many movie scenes. But when I first watched this, I was like, what did they need to save time for? Why are they doing this? But that makes sense.
My theory was that it was a torture tactic.
Ah.
So every time the lights flicker, he's like over here.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's good.
I see that because they do use that as like a storytelling device in a later scene. But I just took it as like, this is the detention room. This is the degenerates. The janitor doesn't even change the light bulbs in this room. It's in the back of the school because that's where all the bad kids are. But let's just say it's a little bit of all of those things.
Yeah. I love that we interpret it all differently.
Yeah, meanwhile, the animators are like, we need to save time.
That's death of the author right there, death of the artist. When you just put something out there, but someone else interprets it into a different way and gives it meaning, and then you're like, huh, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's why I
that.
put peanut butter on the stuffed horse's mouth.
The stuffed zebra.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Brendan clears his throat, and immediately Mr. Pendlehurst yells, we will have quiet in here. And Jason mocks him with an easily, we will have quiet in here.
Get him, Jason.
Again, it's this scene that it uses the lights flashing as a storytelling because we see a flash of the teacher's desk and Mr. Pendlehurst is gone. And that's when we hear him say, you think that's funny? And when Brendan looks up, he realizes Pendlehurst is now like right in his face yelling. Dude, Pendlehurst like singles out Brendan every time. Every time. It's 3 to 5 people doing some shit, and Pendlehurst is like, you, Brendan.
Yeah, Jason was the one who mocked him, but yet Brendan got in trouble.
Because he's the leader. He has to knock him down.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. Well, again, Pendlehurst yells in Brendan's face saying he used to be a prison guard, and he'd like to take Brendan there to show him what real discipline is. The whole time he's saying this, he's got his index finger right in Brendan's face.
I quoted him saying, I used to be a prison guard. I'd love to hurt more people because I'm an asshole.
I mean, he was a prison guard. Now he's a teacher. Some people who are cops. People who just need to have that authority.
Yep.
Because to them, it's respect.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yep.
Quote unquote.
You can get some easy authority if you're watching kids.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you can make them do shit like hold stacks of books.
Yeah. Which, God, is that not a Catholic school punishment if I've fucking seen one? Hold these books for 30 minutes.
You can just take them and basically kidnap them, and say, like, all right, now that you mocked me a little bit, I will keep you here for an entire week. So what? Who gave you that power? No one. You did.
What are you going to do? You're just a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, to Brendan's credit, when Pendlehurst has his finger in Brendan's face, Brendan says, "Is that thing loaded?"
I missed that. I would have bit that finger so fast.
I was thinking that. I was like, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Well, Pendlehurst is like, "What did you say?" And Brendan points out again, "Your finger's very close to my face, and I'm having some intimacy issues with it." So that's when Pendlehurst makes him stand up and hold a stack of books in each hand. So he announces to the class that he'll be back shortly, and he trusts that they will behave. As soon as he leaves, the other two kids that are in detention ask Brendan, Jason, and Melissa if they want to see something cool, but they have to do it right now. Melissa asks if Pendlehurst will be back soon, and they said he went across the street to get coffee. He does this every detention.
Another example as to why this classroom is just completely dilapidated and is because the window's boarded up.
Yeah, they are taking the boards off the windows to be like, "Hey, come out here, check this out, guys."
I also have another observation, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Well, we cut to the two kids pouring sugar in Pendlehurst's gas tank while Brendan, Jason, and Melissa look on. They look across the street and notice that he's already heading back and that he's early.
Was that the coffee shop from Class Trip?
The next sentence I have here. We have a quick cut to across the street, and he is at the coffee shop, Galaxy Coffee.
Can I pop off for a second? If this was a class trip and it was across the street from the school, why did they take a bus there?
The next sentence in my notes says, okay, so that was my thought exactly, right? So I guess in my head, the thought was Galaxy Coffee might be like a Starbucks, like a chain. Maybe they went to the other side of town where there is a hotel with another Galaxy Coffee right next to it. Maybe they just Galaxy Coffee across the street because they already had the model for Galaxy Coffee and they needed to save some time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I was like, they took a class trip across the fucking street and took a bus.
God. We'll go with that. It's a chain. It's got to be a chain.
Right.
Did you see the hotel next to it?
They didn't show anything next to it.
Okay, because I was writing notes down when I saw the sugar, and I looked up, and I barely saw a coffee shop. I saw it said something billions, but
Okay, so there was a sign that said over 1 billion life forms served, which does give me the vibe. Like, McDonald's used to have signs like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it gives me the vibe of, hopefully this is a chain. They went to a hotel on the other side of town that also just happened to have a Galaxy Coffee next to it.
All right, I'll give it to them. You're forgiven.
Trust me, I sat here and tried to overanalyze this 2-second clip of a 22-year-old cartoon, okay? I did my due diligence.
I like to think every time these episodes drop, the animators and writers are shaking in their boots like, oh no, are they going to catch us?
Oh shit, dude.
What do they think?
Dude, I hope they pieced together that Galaxy Coffee is a chain and that they went to the one across town that was next to the hotel and there just happens to be one across from the school too. Like, we talked about that in the meeting before this episode.
I hope they don't see that animation mistake I made 30 years ago because I was sleep deprived.
Yeah, because I just learned this program and had 72 minutes to get this episode done.
Oh, man. That's kind of sweet to think that they care about our opinion, though.
Right?
Yeah.
One of them says they need to make it back to the classroom, and Jason points out he's not a very good runner. And you know what? This point, too, so we have this scene where they're running back to the classroom. We see a first-person view of just a hallway and someone running. We hear Jason wheezing. But then we show them, and their hair's all messed up. They're sweating. So, again, a typical Jason, Brendan, and Melissa model that they can't just use the normal models for. They need to make them disheveled. They need to make them sweaty. So I understand why the animators were like, what are you doing? You're giving us 10 times the amount of work.
But they're doing so well with it because you can see Melissa like hyperventilating, like her stomach's and they're all sweating. And
I'm sure in the moment it was super stressful, but they fucking knocked it out. They knock it out every single fucking time.
Yeah, they can do more.
Absolutely. Do more.
No.
Less time.
I think it was the perfect amount of, I don't even want to call it like crunching because that has a very negative connotation to it. But they only had X amount of time, and I think it was like the perfect amount of time and work to make them sweat, get it done. But they fucking crush it, dude. Every time they crush it. And they'll probably watch it and be like, oh, God, no, this part where you see Melissa's arm do that, and we're like, we didn't even notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're like, oh shit, I hope no one minds that the lights are flickering. We're like, well, this really speaks to the economic.
The curtains are blue.
We see the kids are covered in sweat. Melissa tells Brendan he has to carry Jason if they want to make it back to class in time.
Wait a second. Another animation fix. Because you just see them running, but you don't see them running. It's from their point of view going down the lockers.
Yeah.
Yep, so it's just the POV kind of bouncing.
Yeah.
And I wrote in my notes, I love this. It's creative because you're in their point of view and you're moving, and then all of a sudden you're slowing down, and then you're slowing down even further. Even though it was just to fix it or to save time, it was still a clever use, creative.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. They don't do we need to waste time, so let's sit on one still frame for 15 seconds, like, say, a Family Guy bit would do.
Yeah, I did notice that there were a lot of close-ups in this episode, which is probably another trick that they did so they didn't have to do as much background work.
Or the super close-up so they don't have to animate the mouths. But
Yeah.
I didn't notice a whole lot of those, so... Well, by the time they get back to class, Melissa says that was close, and then we hear Pendlehurst slapping a ruler in his hand, saying, "Oh, you are in big trouble."
And I quoted him. He said, "Hoo-hoo, I'm going to hit you with this ruler."
Oh, I like capital punishment. Corporate punishment? Corporate and capital punishment. Capital corporate punishment.
Capitalism is punishment.
Preach it.
All right, well, the next scene opens, and we see a crudely drawn Coach McGurk with huge muscles, and next to it says, "Me!"
I love his notes.
We pull back to reveal this is Coach's clipboard, and we're at soccer practice.
It said on the note something about switching Melissa to...
Half court.
I don't know what that means.
Half court or half time, or I just assumed it was just a note to himself about switching out Melissa at some point.
Singling out Melissa again.
I was hoping he was going to be playing tic-tac-toe by himself.
Again?
I tried doing that the other day after everyone was calling me crazy. I was like, oh no, I can't defeat myself. I can't.
When I was editing that episode, you're like, "Don't you guys play tic-tac-toe against yourself?" And I'm like, "No." And you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess." Fuck me, I guess. I'm just fucking...
At some point, I started disassociating, and then at one point, I was doing the tic-tac-toe, and I was like, oh, I can beat myself. And
I won!
I did it!
Well, Coach asked Brendan, "You poured sugar in Pendlehurst's gas tank?" And Brendan clarifies, "No, it was the other kids, but we were the ones who got caught. So now we have to do this Scared Straight program." Coach points out to Brendan, "You're already straight." And Brendan points out, "I'm already scared."
Me.
Me!
Well, Coach says he's been to the can a few times, that Brendan should call it the can when he's there. I like that little bit where Brendan's like, "Well, what do you call actual cans?" Well, he goes on to tell Brendan, "You have to be the craziest one there, and people will leave you alone."
Oh, man. I wish this was the clip we were showing, because the way he popped off scared me the first time I watched it.
I mean, we can play just this quick little part here.
Push and play, kids.
Here's another thing, Brendan. You gotta be the craziest one there.
Right.
You act like you're insane and people will leave you alone.
You mean what? Like unstable?
Well, yeah, but more. Like overreact to something.
Oh, yeah, like what?
All right, here's an example. Come up and brush against me. Walk by. Ready?
All right. How do you do?
No! No, man! No, man! No! I don't think so! I don't think so! All right?
All right.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it? See what I mean?
That was good.
Freaks you out.
I feel my heart's pounding.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Make a shiv.
Yeah? How do you do that?
I don't know. You find stuff, you make it. You can stab someone with anything.
Yeah.
You wear glasses?
No.
You wear contacts?
No.
Make a knife out of contacts.
Really?
That's what I learned.
Wow.
I killed a man with contacts.
In the can?
Yeah.
With this
Wow.
thumb.
And the other thing is you can make a knife out of tags from T-shirts.
Like the cloth tags?
Yeah, because they're a little harder than the material
And that's enough to...
to penetrate skin. Just got to find the right spot.
Wow.
You know what I'm going to do?
What?
I can give you a tattoo.
What?
That would help you.
Please don't.
You have a pen?
Are you a good artist?
Well, what kind of design you want?
I don't know.
I can do a moon. I can do a smiley face.
Yeah.
I'm going to put one right under your eye. 3 teardrops. No one will touch you.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's going to be our clip for this episode because, one, the freak out is like, dude, that's next level.
Yeah.
But all of the advice he gives him, I killed a man with contacts.
I love it. He's like, do you do this? No. Okay, do you wear contacts? No. Well, yeah, you should make a shiv out of contacts.
Is it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Is it? Is it?
I love the camera getting like a Brendan's POV as he's getting big and huge. He's looking down.
Yeah.
Looks so scary.
I remember watching this episode when it aired and just absolutely losing my fucking shit to that. Because he's like, walk by me and brush against me, and Brendan's like, okay, all right, how do you do?
No way, man. Is it?
It's wild that that's the advice that everybody kind of knows. Is like, you gotta act crazy when you go into prison because prison is so goddamn scary and put down our throats. You've seen the Scared Straight shows that, oh my God, I used to be terrified of that.
Right.
And then I went to juvie for like a couple days, and it was...
You went to juvie?
I've told you that. I've
Did
definitely...
you?
Oh, yeah, I've definitely... Like, it was like for 4 days, but it was still like, oh, God.
Damn.
Oh, God.
We got a criminal in our midst.
Listen. We're all criminals.
Listen, little mama.
Weird little mama.
We're all criminals. All right, well, the next scene, we have some establishing shots of the prison, and Brendan, Jason, and Melissa are now getting their mugshots taken. We see once again Jason's last name, which is Penopolis, Penopolis. We see Brendan and Melissa's mugshots as well, and we see the prison doors slam shut.
My animation catch is that instead of blinking, they don't have outlines around their eyes for a second, and then they do to kind of show expression on their faces.
I see.
Interesting.
Well, we have a quick shot of Paula vacuuming, and she stumbles upon the large pile of VHS tapes. She stops and asks herself how many movies have they made before putting one of the movies in the VCR. We do see a quick shot of the stack of tapes, and you can actually see a few titles, such as The Fruit That Rots, When Trees Ruled, Escape Pod Blues, The Foreman Years. There was one that says When Stuffed Animals Attack, and a few other ones. You might be able to make out some of the other ones. I was doing the breakdown on my phone, so I couldn't really see a lot of them. But there's quite a few titles that you can see on the tapes.
I would love to know, because almost certainly they are references to something in their personal lives or not.
Like, I'm wondering if the Foreman years has something to do with, like, maybe the Wonder years, if that's supposed to be, like, the Formidable years or the Wonder years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just thought it was the couple seasons of House when Foreman was part of it. That was the only thing I went to. But then The Fruit That Rots and like Escape Pod Blues is a very good title.
I went to Eric Foreman from That 70s Show.
Interesting where our brains are going.
Yeah. Brains are weird.
Paula puts the first movie in, and it's the three of them dressed in black. And this is the one thing that I did get in commentary, as Brendan said, they are actually speaking German.
Nice. I want to know how 2 8-year-olds and a 7-year-old knew how to speak German. I'd like to think Paula has like a book somewhere that she wanted to learn German at one point, and then they just found it.
I don't know if this is culturally insensitive of me, but I don't know German, so I did think they were just doing gibberish at first.
Yeah, unless Brendan, with the one piece of information he gave me on the commentary, was lying. He said they were speaking actual German, but there were like a few terms I'm like, yes, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, same.
I did see on the tape one was in German, and I believe that was the title Die Gefangen. I'm sorry to any German folks, I don't know. Die Gefangen, which apparently is the captive?
Interesting. Well, the movie had something to do with, I think Melissa was showing up to foreclose their circus, and they're like, it's a traveling circus.
Yeah.
How are you going to foreclose a traveling circus? When, of course, that movie ends with Melissa in German saying, it's time to pay the price. Well, we're back in the prison. Pendlehurst is explaining the mess hall to the children, and we hear some guards off to the side say, Pendlehurst, is that really you? They go on to make fun of him, saying they didn't think he was ever coming back. And then I'm like, hey, who am I? Pendlehurst.
I had such a hard time remembering his names in my notes, so I just kept saying Mr. Peepaw. Because I couldn't.
People.
And then they Pendlehurst.
Well, I think at one point Paula calls him Pendleton,
Yeah.
which is like a camp. So it kind of makes sense that it's Pendlehurst, which is close to Pendleton, and he's like this authoritative, like, I was a security guard. Sorry, prison guard.
Basically.
Yeah. Pendlehurst immediately wants to move on. And we do see kind of a quick scene of Jason, Brendan, and Melissa. And I think they're starting to piece together like, hey, these other guards don't respect this dude at all. And they're making fun of him. And they're like, I didn't think you'd ever come back here.
What? Guards and police officers being bullies? What?
No.
What?
Well, this is a cartoon. That's why stuff like this is
Yeah.
happening. It's funny, they're walking past a bunch of the prison cells, and they slowly start to realize that this is a white-collar prison because they're telling them stuff like, save your receipts, check references of accountants, always check references. Melissa even points out it honestly doesn't look that bad as far as prison goes.
I love Brendan. He's like, this would be a great place for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He's,
Marson coded for sure.
yeah, movie-making brain.
Everything's an idea. Everything.
Well, we get put in a room now with some convicted felons that are there to talk to him. All right, here's another like quick save time. This is a room. It's just a black room with a single spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
We got Brennan, Jason, and Melissa sitting on chairs. The first prisoner asks them if they come from a family, and Jason points out that he indeed comes from a family. The guy goes on to say that he came from a broken home, ended up in a gang, got put in jail for petty crime, just to get out and steal again. And Jason makes a comment, well, at least we know the system works.
I love passive-aggressive Jason.
Dude, they're all three of them while they're sitting there, like their body language is like, yeah, we're just chilling.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
This is obviously like not scaring them at all.
No.
So the next felon goes up and picks up where the last one left off, saying that their family loves them. They don't want to be like him. He's in jail, man. I'm in jail, man. Look at me. Look at me. In the eyes. He's got like one eye sewn shut.
I thought he was going to just break into a song at some point.
Oh, I wish.
Jail.
I wish. That would have been great.
I love that you can see part of the inside of his eye that's
Yeah,
sewn up for
yeah.
just a split second.
I think he's got like a red pupil.
Yeah.
We cut to Jason, Brendan, and Melissa Melissa quietly says, get off the stage.
Fucking roasting him.
Dude, okay, so now we cut back to Paula.
Ah, yes.
And she is watching the movie. She is invested, dude. And, we've got a return of the Starboy and the Captain of Outer Space.
Yep. It seems like they made multiple of Starboy and the Captain of Outer Space because this one was specifically about a ghost girlfriend trying to kill him.
And I have a big theory about this one.
Really?
Ooh.
yeah.
Share your theory.
Well, real quick, Paula's holding the movie case, and it's called Starboy and the Phantom Girlfriend Menace,
Uh-huh.
which is a reference to Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, which came out in 1999. Remember, too, in the last episode when they're making quote-unquote movie history, and she's like, is this the first part in a 6-part trilogy?
Yeah.
Because they had just done Star Wars Episode 1. I just had The Phantom Girlfriend Menace, another Star Wars episode. What did you have, Marcin?
Well, here is my... So we know Starboy from Being Alone. Like, remember that episode
Oh, yeah.
with Cynthia the first time
Sure.
when they should have broke down the Cynthia storyline?
Yeah.
So Brendan has obviously psychological feelings for Starboy and Cynthia, and this is the Phantom Girlfriend Menace.
Oh.
The girlfriend that ghosted him.
God
Yes.
damn it.
You know what, man? 100% yes. Yes.
That gets claps from me.
100%. Last episode, you put out a theory, and I was like, nope, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I
So
will
you
not.
know he's being honest.
Yes. So I'm telling you right now, no, I like this one. This
Yeah,
is
that's
a good one.
Okay, now if I saw that like back then when I was rating Pizza Club, I would have given it a better grade. But I'm just glad that we had somewhere, he went somewhere with it. He
Yeah.
put his feelings into a movie, and he just went along.
Wow.
The Phantom Girlfriend Menace. The
Damn.
girlfriend ghost. Literal and figurative.
Damn.
100%, dude.
You get an A+ this episode, Marcin.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never even pieced that together. That's
Well, I was just thinking Starboy alone when
Yeah.
that was such like a good song.
100%. And dude, how many times have we seen Brendan's real life
reflected in his movies.
Yeah, whether he knows it or not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We rewatched Fat Her. I just still remember when we were sitting in the episode and you were like, spell Fat Her. And I was like, holy shit.
Father!
I remember having that
Do we
same...
commend my spirit?
I remember having that realization too. So we cut to quickly of Paula. She is eating popcorn. She is invested.
She's like, that's my son.
My boy.
Well, unfortunately, the movie opens with Starboy telling the captain of outer space that he's not his friend. The captain goes on to explain to Starboy, your girlfriend is a ghost who's trying to kill you. Starboy and the captain are fighting, and that's when we see Melissa as a ghost. Starboy says he's breaking it off with him because, well, you're a ghost, and you were not upfront about that. He's like, if you were upfront about that, I wouldn't have dated you. Or maybe I would have. I'm not sure. But you definitely should have been upfront about it.
Absolutely.
So it's him reinserting himself, be like, no, I'm ending this. Similar to the Casablanca with Yoko. I can't remember that girl's name.
Yes.
Oh, what was her name?
Lonnie.
Lonnie, that's right.
There it is.
That's what we call a coincidence.
Coincidence. Well, Melissa says nobody breaks up with Ghost Lady. It's time to pay the price. Beautiful transition. She moves towards the camera like, ooh, and that transitions back to a felon who's like, boo,
Yeah.
boo.
Genuinely scared me the first time I watched it. I jumped.
I jumped inside my brain. I didn't move, but it was
Your brain jumped.
Yeah.
Well, Jason points out this guy is actually trying to scare them. The next guy comes in and starts with that he comes from a broken home, and Jason says, oh, here we go. He goes on to say he robbed a bank, and then he gets confused, says, nope, I got to check my notes. Okay, I worked at a bank, then I robbed it, then I went to prison. And that's when Brendan pulls out the invisible gong.
So they mixed up two stories between the first gang member and then the last one because they had the same exact story. Now, I've seen Orange is the New Black. They have this episode where the prisoners are doing a scared straight thing and they have a story. Like, they have to, like, put on a performance. Clearly, these prisoners are putting on a performance.
Right.
And I think two of them have the same script.
I once heard that during these scared straight situations, it's not actual prisoners, that they're all actors.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because they can't have the general population in with actual prisoners, let alone camera crews.
Yeah,
It's all fake, kids. I'm sorry.
That's reality television.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, the next scene starts with Pendlehurst explaining to them that they're going to be in a cell for the next 6 hours to see what it's like to be a prisoner. Brendan asks what they should do for the next 6 hours, and we cut to them playing charades. Brendan is running back and forth. Jason and Melissa are guessing. Jason keeps saying Jaws. Well, it turns out Brendan was doing Marathon Man, but he told Jason and Melissa it was one word, and Marathon Man is 2 words. So that's when Mr. Pendlehurst interrupts them by asking what's going on, saying it isn't the time for games. Brendan has a small smirk on his face. Pendlehurst yells at him to wipe that smirk off his face, which just makes Brendan smile even more. He then tells Brendan he earned himself another day in the can. He is now canned goods. And that's when we hear the warden yell for Pendlehurst, asking him what he's doing there.
Another great way to save animation is just in shadow the entire time.
I was just going to say warden and the 2 guards next to him both in shadow the whole time.
Makes him even more intimidating, mysterious.
Very
Yeah.
much so.
Plus, he's like on the balcony, so he's like far up in the sky, like God.
You said God. I was like,
I know him. We have beef.
Well, Pendlehurst says he was cleared for this, but the warden yells he doesn't care what he was cleared for. You know you're not allowed back here. Even tells him he needs to get out of there before he puts him in one of the cells. That's when Jason asks, are you the warden?
Let's fucking go.
And then immediately, with a fist in the air, starts yelling, better conditions for prisoners now. Better conditions for prisoners now. Immediately, Brendan and Melissa join in, and all 3 of them. Better conditions for prisoners now.
Jason needs a bouquet of flowers for this. Oh my God. It is well known in America that the prison system is just a slave institution.
Oh, yeah.
They are knowingly at a white-collar prison. Brendan tells McGurk in a later scene about all the stuff they saw there, and still Jason is like, these prisoners need to be treated better.
Yeah, hell yeah, Jason.
I saw a guy gardening, didn't have a sun hat. Better conditions for prisoners now.
Oh my God, dude! There's so much. It's such a big can of worms. The whole prison complex.
Yeah.
It's so much, but it needs. When that happened, that chant started happening. I was like, okay, all right, I'll clap for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not only did Jason immediately start saying that, Brendan and Melissa
Had his back.
immediately join in.
Fucking badasses.
Fists up and everything.
Jason saw the opportunity and he fucking took that shit. And we should all be taking notes from Jason Papalapodakadis.
Jason pop lock and drop.
Oh.
Pop lock and drop a dis. Fuck, dude.
Oh, cold open. You guys got it. Oh, man. And I love, so the chanting then goes into Brendan, Jason, and Melissa singing, "We shall overcome."
Little protesters.
Oh, that's what I'm going to start chanting every time I wake up and see some bad news.
We
Yeah.
shall overcome. This episode, a lot of earworms, man. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So, Pendlehurst tells them he would appreciate it if they didn't mention to anyone at school what happened. You know, it could be their little secret. Always good when a grown adult tells 3 children, let's not tell anyone. This will be our little secret, eh?
Hey, you'll talk about this in therapy.
Well, Brendan says they promise they will not tell anyone, but they just have to know why he's no longer a prison guard.
I wrote down Mr. P Pants looks like if Peter Griffin and Major Chip Hazard had an asshole kid.
Mr. P Pants.
Mr. P. Pants.
He's got Peter Griffin's outfit, like the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who the other guy is, though.
Major Chip Hazard, you've never seen Small Soldiers?
No.
Me and you are going to watch that.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
Adding it to the list.
Yep.
What I love about this is Brendan's like, listen, we promise we won't tell anyone as long as you tell us why you got fired. Next scene, Brendan is immediately telling Coach why Pendlehurst was fired. So Brendan goes on to explain it's a minimum security prison, and one day Pendlehurst left one of the cell doors open. The prisoners, instead of trying to escape, went straight to the warden and tattled on Pendlehurst. So that's when Coach realizes that Brendan went to a minimum security prison, saying those are not scary at all. Those places are actually pretty nice. And Brendan agrees, saying it was fun. A couple people had yards, digital cable, even said there was a pool.
Pisses me off. Ooh.
Coach angrily explains that those places are better than where he lives. And that literally is one of the saddest things he's ever heard.
I was just going to say what he says here is just...
He's spitting facts, dude.
he really is. The Book of McGurk.
Sometimes a broken clock is wrong twice, or right. Never mind. A broken clock is wrong, Adele. Yes. Very, very good.
But only twice a day.
But only twice a day. Motherfucker, I need to nap. But anyway, yeah, he was just saying, as somebody who struggles with derealization, like, he was spitting the facts left and right.
Well, Brendan pushes back, saying you'd still be confined, and that's when Coach points out that literally every aspect of his life is already like a prison. He goes on to explain we're trapped in these bodies.
Yes, we are. Let me out. Let me out of this body.
Better life.
Better life.
Tells Brendan, you got to go to school. They both agree. That's like a prison. Coach says, I got to teach soccer. That's a prison. And then probably my favorite, Brendan's like, this conversation. It's like a prison.
So good.
Can't get out of it. And the scene lingers like long enough to be delightfully awkward.
We all live in our own prisons, Brendan.
Oh, God.
I'll get that tattooed.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Can we get a rewatching home movies tattoo?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. 100% I would.
Yeah, I could see it.
Tim's never had a tattoo yet.
He's going to get it on his forehead.
Yeah. 3 teardrops.
It's going to be
No
Melissa,
one-
Jason, and Brendan.
Yeah.
Tim will get the QR code on his forehead.
No, I'll get Brendan, Jason, and Melissa, but they'll be inside 3 teardrops under my eye. No one will mess with me. Well, we're at the penultimate scene. We're at the small residence. Paula is sitting on the couch with Brendan, explaining to him that she found that huge stack of movies he left out. Even tells Brendan she thought they were really good. But then asks him if there's a reason why he ends all of his movies the same way. Brendan, almost confused, asks her what she means, and that's when she says it's time to pay the price. And Brendan even says, "It is?" She said, "No, that's how you end all of your movies." Well, Brendan pushes back and says, "You probably watched the same movie twice." But Paula assures him that she just watched every movie, and that is indeed how they all end. Brendan still pushes back and even says, "I don't think I've ever used that stupid line." And that's when Paula presses play on the VCR. A cute little thing I noticed about this scene, when they start talking and it shows them, there's a stack of VHS movies on the right side of the scene. And then Paula shows him all of these movies, and we'll go over all of them. But then when she's done, that stack is now on the left side. Almost to insinuate she sat there and grabbed every single one of these movies, put them in, press play.
Like we said, the brain is weird.
Mm.
I don't know why that is stuck in Brendan's mind to say, like, it's time to pay the price, unless that's something that he finds intimidating or like a cool line.
Yeah, he must.
He should lean into it.
Literally about to see. That's a very versatile line. It's not just like a threat of like, hey, fuck you, man, it's time to pay the price. Like, boom, first movie, Melissa's playing the mom, Jason's playing the dad. They're getting a bunch of groceries and stuff for the baby. She's holding Josie. So Josie does make an appearance in this episode.
Yes.
She asks her husband, "Did you get all the groceries?" The cashier says your total is $1,000. And Jason says, "Well, it's time to pay the price."
Topical.
Yeah.
Those same groceries today would cost $2.3 million. The next movie is a still of what looks like an X-Men comic. We've got Josie playing Magneto. Melissa is Storm. Brendan is Cyclops. Jason is Wolverine. And Coach McGurk is Colossus. Jason is Wolverine saying, "It's time to pay the price." I don't know if you saw, but we have the little comic book text in the top left corner. It says "Meanwhile," like most comic book pages. And then in the bottom corner, it says "Evil paid the price." The next movie is just a quick Price is Right ripoff called Price is Nice. Melissa's displaying a washer and dryer. Brendan with a spray tan says it's time to pay the price.
He's got those fake teeth again.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got the same like skinny microphone that Bob Barker would use for Price is Right.
Oh, yeah.
The price is wrong, bitch.
We have a quick Alice in Wonderland spoof. Melissa's the Queen of Hearts. Jason's smoking a pipe as the caterpillar on the mushroom. And Brendan is Alice holding, I think, a muffin. Melissa saying it's time to pay the price while taking out an axe. So the next one, we have a French sock puppet saying in French, it's time to pay the price. And he's like, le temps to pay le prix. And then a Southerner puppet with a Confederate flag saying it's time to pay the price.
Yeah, that one was rough. That one was a rough look.
It was a historical documentary with sock puppets.
Yeah.
When the French fought the Confederacy?
Hey, this is a
I
Robin
got two
Hood.
Lugers.
This is a Robin Hood hugging King Arthur 600 years apart situation.
Yeah,
Let's not look
yeah.
into it that much. We have, a cowboy standoff with Brendan, Jason, and Melissa where they each take turns saying one word, saying it's time to pay the price. We have Brendan swinging as George of the Jungle, quickly saying it's time to pay the price.
That one's a bit...
Well, George of the Jungle, Tarzan, whatever.
No, I meant like you didn't need to use that line there. I don't...
Right,
that one-
exactly. And it was a quote, it doesn't pay the price. It doesn't pay the price. And then the last one, we have Jason rapping with Brendan and Melissa behind him, spelling out time to pay. So we see a few different shots of them rapping. One, they look kind of like B-boys. One, I think Jason's holding the clock, maybe like Flava Flav.
Flavor Flav.
There's one that they're dressed very specific. I'm not sure what the rap reference is.
Could you bring up the rap just for me?
Just for Marson.
So yeah, so the first one, he's just kind of like a b-boy kind of thing. Now he's got the clock like Flava Flav. The yellow and white one, I'm not...
I know what that one is.
What is that one?
Can you go back to that? I just want to make sure, and if I didn't catch this, I think Nate would get mad at me. I'm pretty sure that's Devo.
Is that Devo? Because they're like rapping.
Yeah, but they're also musicians and they're jumping. So, like, they're not all rappers. Maybe they're just jumping. Like, he's spitting right there, and they all... See, they're jumping, they're singing. I'm pretty sure that's Devo.
I guess they do have the hard hats. They have the gloves. I could see that as a Devo reference. I'll give it to you. And the last one, we see a sign for the band which says Sugar and Spice, which is a play on the music group Salt and Peppa.
Salt and pepper!
Yes.
Is that a Holes reference?
No.
It's a John Mulaney reference.
Oh, gotcha. And then the last movie we don't see, we just hear the song, which is an old-timey tone of them being like, it's time to pay the price. So Paula asked Brendan if he even realized that he was doing that, and Brendan confesses that he did not. Paula even said she thought that was like, you know, his thing, his signature. And Brendan points out he guesses he'll try to end them differently from now on. Well, the final scene, we see a piece of paper outside of a door claiming this is Brendan's 39th prison film, now shooting.
Should he just go on a bender of filming as many prison films as he could, or?
Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've seen some films of his in prison already with the landlady and during, was that Breaking Up is Hard to Do?
Yeah, that's true.
Night Cheating Harder. No, Breaking Up is Hard to Do.
When they were like parents for Melissa.
Yes, they were escaped prisoners. Yeah, so he has done prison movies, so I think it's just commentary on, yeah, okay, we'll say it's his 39th prison film. It opens with Jason saying they've done a lot of bad things. Brendan says now they're in jail. Melissa agrees, saying they're being punished. They all point out they can't do anything because they have all done wrong, and this is where they should be.
I love the paper chains around their legs.
Oh, I thought they were like toys of Josie's.
Oh, see, I took them as like, you know how you make like
Construction paper chains?
yeah, with construction
Yes,
paper.
that's
yeah.
100% what I think, yeah. Brendan points out justice has been done, and it's time to pop and pop. And Jason says, you are right, brother. It's time to... So they all struggle to say anything besides it's time to pay the price. And that's when Jason asks, what time is it really? Brendan opens his shirt to reveal multiple watches and says it's 2:30. Jason rips off his mustache and says he's got to go home. Brendan says fade to black. That is the end of Season 3, Episode 10. It's time to pay the price. We do have a very quick end credit scene where Jason is singing Josh is at the Battle of Jericho. Melissa joins in briefly and Jason finishes the song and the walls come a-tumbling down.
Break the walls down!
Mm-hmm.
And that is the official end of Season 3, Episode 10. It's time to pay the price.
Damn.
It was a big episode.
It really was. I enjoyed it.
For the animators, for the writers,
For us.
for us.
Absolutely. God, Season 3 is so good.
Absolutely. It's really good.
This is just one of those episodes that's like, man, it's so good. So good. Great pacing. Again, kudos to the animators. They crushed it. I understand the assignment, and they did too, and they did a great job. Considering this probably was literally 10 times the amount of work they had to do than a traditional episode with not 10 times the amount of time or 10 times the amount of pay.
Yeah.
Great job.
Killed it.
100%. Oh, is there anything about the episode that...
Oh, yeah, there's actually one thing about the white-collar prison. One of the tattoos, someone had taxes and death.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, that was the one thing I remembered seeing. I was like, oh, yeah, it is white-collar prison.
I just noticed in the scene with the three of them in the prison, it looks like they tried to dig at their way out.
Yeah, there's a spoon and a little bit of dirt, like wall missing at the bottom by Melissa.
There's also the skeleton right next to them.
Ah, yes. You know how all prisons have just skeletons in
One
them?
skeleton.
I would not be surprised in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think that's October.
They decorate the cells for Halloween. Yeah.
Well, I meant
Do you remember Octavio, Melissa's little
Yeah.
friend that just wanted to be in the? I think that was what
Yeah, I called him October.
I call him October behind his back.
Shit, dude.
But you know what? That's also
You know,
The Halloween joke.
I just gotta
works
hang
as
up my
well.
hat one day. I've just been messing up my words all day.
no. That was funny too because it is October.
Yeah,
Halloween.
both. I was going to say both of the jokes are very relevant and work. So we did it, gang.
Yes.
Love this episode. Let's start how we have to start these episodes. What is our grade for Jason?
I have to pee really bad.
No, you don't.
No.
I genuinely,
no.
I genuinely have to pee so bad.
Well, then just give him his grade, and we can give our grades.
Yeah, what
and
are you
we can-
waiting for?
I'm trying to think. Trying to think.
Mm.
May I please go to the bathroom?
He's gonna go cry in the bathroom. I can't believe I'm doing this.
This isn't a bit. You really
I
got to.
really do have to pee, but I also do need time to just think this over.
That's
All
fair.
right, go piss.
Yep.
Later that same evening.
Previously on Rewatching Movies. What was your grade? Marcin, what is your grade for Jason?
I shotgunned 2 monsters before I came in, so I was just like, okay. So, gave him an F. No,
No, you didn't.
so I came into this episode with Jason, and I was watching, and it just there was a lot of jokes that he just threw out, and I was eating it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's just some good things, and then him just like throwing them back at Mr. P Pants, and just like, oh fuck this guy. And when they were sitting there in front of the gang members, and they were just laughing and just not taking it seriously. They're both just nodding as I'm talking.
Yes.
Both nodding very slowly.
Yes.
And you know what? I was like, this is a good A episode for Jason. And then we got to the cell, and then he said, "Are you the warden?" And I punched the air. And, I felt myself fighting. I was like, nah. Which isn't fair. But yeah, Jason, you got an A+. today.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
I am reaching up to the ceiling. I am pulling an envelope off of the ceiling that I taped there when we recorded the season 2 recap. And the thing I was about to say but then didn't say
Yeah.
was season 3 will be Jason's first A+. And I
hell
didn't
yeah,
want to
dude.
say it. I didn't want to put any thoughts in any heads. I didn't want to, this is our last episode, so don't even. I didn't want to taint anything. But I knew this episode was coming. And if this is not an A+ Jason episode, I don't know what the fuck is.
When Tim and I first watched this episode together, and I was like, if Marcin doesn't give Jason an A+, I'm giving Jason an A+. Because, holy shit. And I'm so happy you did. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
It's so hard. It's so hard not to give him an A+ for this, especially just all of the different characters he was playing across all of these different episodes.
It was basically his reel.
Yeah.
It was a scissor reel like, hey, here's my range. Here's everything I can do.
Yeah.
Also, being anti-authority towards any just fucking asshole who comes into your direction, like, oh, you're gonna tell me what to do because you think you're some big bad guy because you're cool. You were a security guard. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like that. It is impossible to give him anything other than an A+ for this.
100%.
This is a monumental day.
I didn't even write it down on my notes because I was going back and forth on it the entire time.
How could you?
Yeah,
How could you?
Low key, Adele and I were like, if he doesn't give Jason an A+, we're going to step in and be like, we give Jason an A+.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
Because, oh my God, the last few episodes, he's been a bit of a shithead.
Yeah, he's been a dick.
he really has.
Super, super shitty to Melissa,
Mm-hmm.
the woman he confesses he is going to marry.
Yeah.
I mean, even Guitarmageddon, I came in, I said before that we walked in, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to give him just a running, let's do this, and then you're a fucking bitch. He didn't say fucking, but
Right.
just coming into this one, I tried to give him the same thing, and you know what? There you go, Jason.
He showed up.
He showed up.
100%. Deserved.
We got him, guys.
Deserved.
We got him. We
The
called this
podcast
since
is
day
over.
one.
Let's go.
Honestly, out the past couple of episodes, he's been like just a real dick bag.
Yeah.
I was like, what if I get through the entire show and he doesn't get an A+? I was worried about it because he was just coming at Melissa the entire time, but here we are.
He pulled through.
He didn't eat nothing gross, nothing. I mean,
No.
He had the stink lines, but no one called attention to it.
No.
he was a skunk, dude.
Yeah.
That's how committed to the role he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just going to roll around in some mud.
Very well-deserved Jason grade.
Oh, I'm so relieved. I was so nervous.
I thought it was like, oh, let me use the bathroom and create some tension here.
Yeah, you didn't pee, did you?
No, I heard he had his ear up to the door trying to figure out what we were talking about.
Oh, you'll hear.
Oh, I did have to pee really bad, but I also was like, I got to think about this one.
Well, very well deserved. Now, as far as episode grades, who would like to go first, or shall I?
Can I go first?
Yeah, of course.
I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
I've got a confession to make. So the scene where Paula is watching the videotapes with Brennan to show him the ends are all the same was actually the first introduction I've ever had to this show, because back during COVID, I was watching this one YouTuber named Tim Tracker who would go to like, I don't know, different places. But at the end of each video, he would end it with, and now it's time to pay the price. And it was driving me nuts, so I looked it up, and that's how well, Tim had told me about the show, but I had never watched it, and then I connected the dots when I saw it. And now that I'm older and wiser and have seen the whole show to this point, it's so much better than I could possibly ever expected. This episode in particular was just so well done. Love the Defying Authority. Love Jason. Love all the different movies they've done. This is an S-tier episode for me, for sure.
Yes.
And that's my grade, folks.
Marson, would you like to go next? Or
I can definitely go next. So, again, I don't want to give my S tiers away until we do the tier list, because I really want to hone in and not deal with recency bias, because I do watch these episodes for the first time. I'm fresh off these episodes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's only now that we're rewatching them from the beginning, and I'm really able to just sit back and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy every episode I watch, but like this episode did come very close for me to be like, fuck it, because it's a really good episode. It's really fun time. McGurk, he's barely in it, but he's got some McGurk quotes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, is it? Is it?
I don't think so.
This body is a prison.
I really wanted Brendan to like be walking around with a McGurk tattoo after that, and then just also hearing about the animation stories now of them just like, we had to go.
Yeah,
Really, 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 really good episode. A+.
absolutely.
I'm sure a very easy A+ as well. I will go last. Yeah, so many great lines in this. My brother and I will just simply quote, "It's time to pay the price." How we say it, which version of it. McGurk and his freak out. I love that. Even like the scared straight, I'm in jail, man. I'm in jail, man. So many great lines. Pendlehurst is such a shitbag. Great episode. I guess the only issue I'm having is this an S tier episode or an S plus? I think I'm just going to keep it simple. We're going to give it just an S. Just a regular schmegular S tier episode for me. Very good. Very quotable. So fun to break down. So fun to rewatch. Easy S.
I would genuinely love to talk to, just specifically on this episode, like the animators of this episode. I would love to, especially about all those different titles. Like, I just need to know where they came from.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else about this episode we want to add?
Better conditions for prisoners now?
Better conditions for prisoners now. We shall overcome.
Come. Just for abbreviated plugs, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, please.
So this past weekend, we did a shoot for Season of the Curse 2, just finishing up one of the scenes. We're still hard at work on it. We still got a ways to go, but both Adele and Tim here were a part of it. It was such a fun filming. It went by so much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that we are still working on that, and we have enough footage at this point to try and drop a teaser coming up soon.
Hell yeah, I'm excited.
Maybe not the next couple of weeks, but there will be a teaser at some point.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Let's go.
And in order to see the teaser, you have to pay the price.
It's time to pay the price. That's going to do it for this episode of Rewatching Home Movies. Join us next week for Season 3, Episode 11, Broken Dreams. If you liked what you heard, check out our Linktree at Linktree/RHMpod. There you can like, follow, and subscribe. Send us an email or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. Thanks to Jens for the refresh of our logo and Chris Bongat for the use of our theme song. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-hosts Marcin and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
And then afterwards, all right, same time next week, guys.
This is all going to have to get edited out.
I'm editing it this week, so.
Oh, that is true.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then I can say some things. And you'll find them later. Interesting.
Tim, I love you.
I love you, Adele, so much.
I love you. You're going to be my husband.
You're going to be my wife.
Oh, my God. I love you so much.
I'm so glad Marcin was talking about this.
He's going to hear it later.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
I love you more.
You're the best.
Oh, my God.
You're literally the best thing that's ever happened to me.
You're the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I'm so glad we found each other.
Yeah, me too. Remember this morning.
What the fuck, dude? You can't say that.
What? Do you remember this morning? It's a very common question. Nobody knows what's going to mean.
Oh, dude.
Sorry. Nothing happened this morning.
When we played Minecraft.
We prayed to
We
Jesus.
prayed to Jesus, Scylla, son of God, Scylla.
I feel so dumb for not getting
Don't feel bad. It's okay. I don't get the jokes all the time. And I do the breakdowns, and I'm like, oh my God, Lionel's all night long. And it's Lionel Richie's based on Lionel Richie's all night long. And I didn't even fucking know that.
That's okay, though.
I swear to fucking God, if he doesn't give Jason an A+.
Oh, my God. He better give him an A+.
He's in there.
Oh, shit. He's coming.
Oh, be cool, dude.
I heard laughter, and I was like, oh, no.
No.